Hello and welcome to the Ghost Quarter. As you can see, we're in my storefront. There's literal freezing rain outside. My thumb's bandaged because I accidentally cut it earlier. And I don't have band-aids, so things are going to get a little interesting in this video. Just making sure this is lined up the way I want it. So, as you can see, things have gotten a little interesting over the last couple of years of being in business here. And I've realized more and more over the span of the last couple of months that my money mostly comes from card sales. If I'm being brutally honest, I could cut out the storefront, save $200 every month, and then just double down on the card sales. Thing is, I thought about that and I'm like, well, maybe I just need to pivot what I'm doing in the business from, like general sales to the general public to business sales that nets me more money quicker. And I think that's probably the way this is going to go shortly. Is I'm going to scale back on the number of things I'm doing and focus on just a handful of things in the storefront. And then I'm going to change up, how I have this place set up in order to sort cards more efficiently and quicker. Because that's the first things I'm doing. The second thing I'm doing is, since it's actually more profitable to sell cards online, it makes sense to get people to help me sort cards. So what I'm thinking is, I think it's time to double down on the card sale idea and also get help doing it, because I'm really good at what I do, but I'd rather have 3 people that are mildly okay level of what I do and me working on it than just me working on it. So that's a major big deal that I'm working on, is getting people rounded up together that like once a week or so, or I could spread them out over a couple of days and get people to help me sort cards that I wouldn't ordinarily be able to get through as quickly as I can. And that's kind of what I'm looking at, is increasing efficiency, because currently I'm looking at how I'm running things and I'm going, this is inefficient. I could be doing this so much faster if I would just, bite the bullet and either hire somebody or ask some friends to help me. And I think that's probably what I'm going to have to do, is what I'm doing by myself, I could probably get done in the span of a couple of weeks that would have taken me a couple of months by myself. So it actually makes sense at that point to be like, okay, we need to ramp this up and we also need more people helping. And that's kind of where I'm currently at, is I think it's time to ramp up instead of stay steady. Now, part of that strategy involves taking a bit of a gamble and doubling the value of my collection. See, my collection currently is 100,000 cards. I want to overnight turn that from 100,000 into 200,000 and sort that out. The main reason being, I know I can make a lot more money if I have more cards. The problem is, it took me almost a year to sort out a mostly sorted out collection of 100,000 cards by myself. So yeah, extra help is definitely a requirement. Second thing about that is, my apartment can't accommodate that kind of weight increase. It literally can barely handle the 100,000 I have in there currently. So that needs to get out of my apartment and brought back over here. And if I'm doubling that weight, this storefront can accommodate that kind of weight. It used to be a plumbing supply store, and you can imagine that that kind of equipment weighs way more than a bunch of Magic the Gathering cards. So this building should be able to handle that. That's step one is figure out how to store the cards before I buy the cards. Step two is, do I really want to take the full risk in one swing and hope to make my money back, or do I want to build up to that? But the problem is, in business as in life, the longer you take to do something, the less likely you are to actually get it done. So that's why I'm not hemming and hawing over and I'm not I'm figuring out, okay, how am I doing this? What am I doing when I do this? How am I going to pick up the cards? How am I going to store the cards? How am I going to actually sort that many cards? Even with help, that's still going to take time that I don't necessarily have. And it's literally just, how do I do the thing as quickly as possible? And that is business in a nutshell, is how do I do it as quickly as possible? And not to mention, if I hire somebody, that costs me money. So that's a thing. If I have a bunch of people helping me, that still costs me money. It just costs me less money. So it's, what is the best ways to do what I need to do in the shortest period of time for not necessarily the least amount of money, but for the safest way of doing it? Because if I'm technically hiring some people, to help me, that might be a business expense. I might be able to write that off. And if it's not, it's okay, well, I still got to compensate them somehow. So yeah, I'm figuring it out, but it's been an experience so far trying to get to where I need to go from here, because that's step one. Step one is double the value of the collection. Step two is make a profit from it, which intrinsically, doubling the value of my collection automatically makes me a profit. It's the in-between I have to worry about, making sure that everything is set up and ready to go. That said, there's one other thing that I'm getting ready to do, and that's probably get a new vehicle at some point. This truck can barely handle a puddle, let alone driving around in Iowa winter. And I've done that for about 2 years with this truck now. And with my new job, that means things get a little dicey sometimes when the weather is really, really crap and I have to drive in it. So yeah, not to mention it eats gas like crazy. So part of the reason why I'm working on making more money is to be able to buy a more efficient and safer vehicle. But that's neither here nor there. Alright, well, there's not a whole lot I can really add to this video, so I'm going to end it here so I actually use the clip. Thank you for watching. I'm going to come around and turn you off now. Not that you weren't before, but more so now than, before.